Good evening. The light turned yellow just in front of him. He did the right thing, stopping at the crosswalk, even though he could have beaten the red light by accelerating through the intersection. The tailgating woman was furious and honked her horn, screaming in frustration as she missed her chance to get through the intersection, dropping her cell phone and her makeup. And she was still in mid-rant when she heard a tap on the window and looked up into the face of a very serious police officer. The officer ordered her to exit her car with her hands up. He took her to the police station where she was searched, fingerprinted, photographed, and placed into a holding cell. After a couple of hours, a policeman approached the cell and opened the door. She was escorted back to the booking desk where the arresting officer was waiting with her personal effects. He said, "I'm very sorry for the mistake, you see. I pulled up behind your car when you were blowing your horn, flipping off the guy in front of you and cussing a blue streak at him. I noticed the 'What Would Jesus Do' bumper sticker, the 'Choose Life' license plate holder, the 'Follow Me to Sunday School' bumper sticker, and the chrome-plated Christian fish emblem on the trunk. So naturally, I assumed you stole the car." It's funny. It's a really funny story, but the truth of the matter is, how many of us has been there? I have. I'll be the first one to say that you get in your car and you automatically get road rage, and all of a sudden Christianity goes out the door because you're so irritated and so mad. The truth of the matter is, what we've done in our Christian life is we've placed ourselves in this little box. We've created this little box and we call it our comfort zone. We're like a little mime. You know, we've got our little box and this is where we're at. This is where we want to be. Guys call it a man cave. Women call it the guy's doghouse. But that's what we've done. We've created this box because this is where we're happy. We're sitting in this box, and this box is where we're happy. This is our version of Christianity. This is where we get comfortable. This is where we get lax. And this is where the rest of the world dies and goes to hell while we watch them do it. I struggled with this. Whenever I first asked God, I said, "God, what do you want me to teach on?" This came to my heart, and I'm like, "God, are you serious? I don't want to do this." But I don't know. A lot of you have probably realized that arguing with God is sort of like futile because He's going to win. So bear with me as we go through this. I feel that we've sat in our complacency box for way too long. We have children who are losing focus on God. I saw a church sign that says, "Don't send your children to church, bring them." We've come to a place where our feelings matter as long as nobody steps on our toes. We've got to break out of this box, guys. We believe that a revival is coming. We pray for a revival coming. But how many of us will honestly say that South Seminole Church is not going to start the revival? We are. Revival starts inside you, inside your heart. You cry out to God. You study for God. You worship God, and revival will start inside you. And then once it starts inside you, this box that you've created is gone. So how are we going to break out of this box? What is it going to take for us to break out of our comfort zone? I was sharing with the youth group last week. In 1964, 66% of children, before they left their house, said that God would still be important to them whenever they left their house. In 2004, It was 33% of children that were inside our church said that God would still be important to them after they left their house. A long time ago, they said Christianity will never be taken out of the school system. That just can't happen. We're not going to fight. We're not going to stand up. We're not going to say it's right out of the school system. The first step to breaking out of the box is realizing that for so long, we as Christians have been complacent. We hide in our comfort zone and are content following others' people, allowing other people to spread God's message and reach the lost. Anybody been there? Where they said, you know what? I know these people are lost. I see these people are lost. But instead of me going out and spread God's message, no, what we're going to do is we're going to let this person do it. Brother Ron is incredible in front of speaking with people. So what I'm going to do is, instead of me going out and tell my neighbor about it, I'm going to pray that Brother Ron gets an opportunity to go to their house and preach God's message. But what if everybody had that mentality? What if everybody passed the buck? What if there was no Brother Ron? What if every single person said, you know what, I'm just going to wait? Your friends, your coworkers, your family, the ones that don't know Christ, they would die and go to hell because no one would reach them. I propose now, it's not later. We can't keep waiting, guys. You know, I'm in school for seminary. There's no guarantee that I'm going to make it out of school before Christ comes back. There's no guarantee that I will walk out of this church building without Christ coming back. We can't wait. Everything's coming into play. All of Revelation is starting, all the prophecies are starting to come true. We do not have time to sit back and wait for somebody else to preach the message. I propose it's time for us Christians to break outside of our box. A few weeks ago, we had the thing called the Spring Harvest. 4 weeks straight, I watched Brother Ron preach this sermon and preach sermons, and then afterwards, beg people to join up for the Spring Harvest. You guys, that was a very special time for me because as most of you guys know, your fall harvest brought me and my wife to this church and our children. My children got saved because of that. For 4 weeks, I watched Brother Ron and all the people who were involved begging people to come back. What would have happened instead of having to beg? What if the prayer room that we had down there wasn't big enough? What if every member of our church was here every single night in the sanctuary crying our hearts out to God? Every single night. But we were in the box. The first thing we've got to do, guys, is we've got to be bold. The time for being scared is over. Proverbs 28:1 says this: the wicked flee when no one is pursuing, but the righteous are bold as a lion. When a lion speaks, everything listens. Because they don't just sit there and wait for an opportunity. Whenever they're hungry, they get what they want. Their roar stops animals, scares everything into existence, stops them, frightens them, but everything listens. There's a reason why they're called the king of the jungle. the righteous. How many of us are righteous because we're just righteous? I'm not. This righteousness was bestowed on me because Christ came down here and gave me his righteousness. What if Christ had came down here and thought like we did? Didn't want to share his message. Kept quiet. Sat back and allowed people to die and go to hell. How many of us here would be going to heaven today? None of us. He was bold. He was radical. His message completely contrary to everything the Pharisees taught. And then he died for us. He died so that we could be righteous. Guys, I don't have a religion. I have a relationship.